Good morning and welcome to Live with Michael D and the Michael D TV show. I'm so glad you're here. We've got an exciting lineup today, and I am your host, Michael D. Butler, Dallas, Texas, global book publisher. Today, I tell you, we've got a filmmaker. Paulina Amador is going to be with us today, and Charla Anderson. She's a multiple streams of income expert focused on the senior market. So if you ever wanted to work from home, if you ever wanted to create another income stream, if you ever wanted to create an online business and you wanted to know when is it safe to leave your day job, you're going to want to join us. She's had an exciting life. She actually has won multiple awards. She has carried the Olympic torch, and you want to share this feed wherever you're watching, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Share the feed out, invite people to come, and certainly bring your questions. Our goal today is help 1 million believers find their voice and go live weekly. Traditional media has died, and we're here to help you go live on a weekly basis. Starting today with an African proverb. Many of you may know, you may not know, that every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the fastest lion or it will be killed. Every morning a lion wakes up and it knows it must run faster than the slowest gazelle or it will starve to death. It doesn't matter if you're a gazelle or a lion. When you wake, you'd better hit the ground running. And that's why I'm so excited about our show today, launching multiple streams of income. I'll never forget when my kids were young. They were 10, 8, 6, and 4, and I read a book by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth, and it was really about building a business. It was really about putting systems into your business where you could grow, maintain, and sustain and scale a $1 million business. And so I did that a couple times in the direct sales market, in the wellness company, in a technology company. I had so much fun doing that. And it's really how I got involved in book publishing. I would have never gotten into book publishing 759 titles by authors in 59 countries had I not got into direct sales and network marketing, because I love the people development aspect of network marketing. And I was telling my distributors, I was telling my reps back then that if you really want to succeed, if you really want to succeed in network marketing, if you really want to succeed in working from home and not just getting by and getting free product, but actually making a sustainable living with it, you want to differentiate. You want to be different than everybody else. And the way you set yourself apart is you adopt a nonprofit, you get on stage as a speaker, and you write a book. And believe it or not, that's how I got involved in publishing. I was telling everybody to write their book. One of our distributors, we were tweeting out her book on social media. In fact, we were marketing our reps on MySpace before anybody was on Facebook. And we had a book called More Than Rice, A Journey Through the Underworld of Human Trafficking. And we tweeted out that entire book. I think I was the first person in 2010 to tweet out an entire book on Twitter. And it got noticed. It got picked up. Title card pictures out of Vancouver, Canada, optioned it for the film rights, and the rest is history. Really started looking at that book publishing space and saying, wow, this is amazing on what an entrepreneur can do. And I'm reminded of the scripture today in Proverbs 10:4. If you're thinking about starting a business from home, you can succeed if you'll be diligent. This is written by King Solomon, the wealthiest man that ever lived and the wisest man who ever lived. God came to him, said, I'll give you anything you want. This is King David's son. And he thought for a little bit and he said, I want wisdom more than anything. And God said, because you've asked for wisdom, I'm also going to give you riches and honor and a long life in addition to what you've asked for, which is wisdom. And so, wisest man that ever lived, I recommend reading the book of Proverbs. You can read a Proverbs a day for every day of the month. There's 31 Proverbs. And even on the long months, you can read today. I read Proverbs 30, and I've been doing that for years. He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. So very excited about our guests today. Charla Anderson from Dallas-Fort Worth area. She worked for corporate for years. She's won many outstanding customer service awards. Like I said, she's carried the Olympic torch. And so there's not too many people that can say that they've carried the Olympic torch in the Olympics. And that's just an amazing story in and of itself. But if you've ever had the question of how can I start another income stream, or if you ever had the question of how can I channel my creativity to impact more people? How can I reach more people with my Instagram, my Facebook, my TikTok reels? How can I be more comfortable on video, shooting video and posting video and going live? That's what we're all here about on the Michael D Show. You know, I started going live years ago. Ever since I was a kid, and I got that cassette player for Christmas from my parents, and I walk around the house and interview people with that microphone and that cassette tape. I pretend I was a reporter. I was a journalist. That was my job. Is I wanted to get the story. I wanted to get the news. And I talk about it in my book, Bestseller Status. And I said this years ago, people are the new media. And that's right. You are the new media. And of all the channels on cable, I grew up with two channels, black and white, ABC and NBC. They signed off every night after the news. And that's all I had growing up on the farm with the antenna. I was the antenna for the family. I had my aluminum foil. I was conducting the UHF and VHS signals so my family could watch TV. And I've been in broadcasting a long time. And now that we have 500 channels, and in many cases, 5,000 channels, because we have a smartphone and we can tune into anything, anywhere that's going live. Did you know live streaming is outpacing ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, all the channels on your cable network that you can Google or think of? More people are consuming live content. So if you're a coach, if you're an author, if you're a speaker, if you're an insurance agent, if you're in sales, if you're in real estate, if you're a realtor, if you're in mortgage, whatever your business is, if you're a chiropractor, a dentist, or a startup company, I tell you what, you want to be streaming on a weekly basis. And this next guest, she's got a show. She's got her own show, in fact, and she has amazing guests from around the world. Please help me welcome the author and speaker and Ziglar certified coach, Charla Anderson. How you doing today, Charla?
Fabulous. It's always a choice, isn't it?
Always, always a choice. Now, I love that about you, your optimism. I've known you for a few years now. I think maybe we met during the pandemic on a Zoom call somewhere, right?
Yes.
And you're an author. Tell us a little bit about who is Charla Anderson. You've written a series of books that we're relaunching. Candy Bar Hugs is very exciting. You just relaunched that one. You're going #1 soon. And kind of tell us who you are and what you're all about. Welcome to Michael D Show.
Thank you so much, Michael, for inviting me and letting me just share. I'm a talker, so this is fun for me. I was a flight attendant for 34 years. It was my dream job, my career. I raised my family. We traveled all over the world. I was honored twice through that company, peer nominated twice to be with a special award, the Chairman's Club Award. And then also, I'll just show it. I brought it out here, the Olympic torch I got to carry back in.
That's exciting. Hold that up a little bit. That we don't want to pass over this. You were chosen. You carried the Olympic torch in which Olympics?
It was for Salt Lake City Olympics. And I was, we actually carried it in Vail, Colorado. They had you pass the flame, not the torch, right? So we had the opportunity to purchase the torch if you wanted to, and how could you not? So that was fun.
How far did you run? How did that?
I think they had each of us only about a quarter mile. It was.
Well, that's great.
That's great.
So what was the feeling when the torch was handed off to you? There had to be some significance or some feelings and emotions, right?
I think it's just about one of the highest honors you can receive. I had, it was peer nominated, and only 100 employees were actually got chosen to do that. And out of, 90,000 employees at the time. So it was a huge honor for me.
Wow, that is just incredible. So that was in 1980 in
2002.
Oh, 2002. Gotcha.
2002 Salt Lake City Olympics.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. That's now what do you do with the torch now? Is it hanging up somewhere in your office or something?
It's right behind this screen on a nice
super
board that they it's all, they like to make money around all this too. So we got to buy the torch and we got to buy the plaque. It was beautiful.
It's a good point. I mean, as an entrepreneur, so for years you worked for corporate, you were a flight attendant, you many years you won lots of awards, like you said, out of 80,000 reps. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know customer service is a big thing for you, and you took your family on a trip to Europe when you retired and things like this. What was kind of your mindset there, and how was it for you, providing customer service in corporate, and then where are things at now? Have things kind of changed, or do people still have corporate loyalty like they used to?
I tell you what, I was loyal to a fault with Delta Airlines. I loved the company. I loved the people. I was extremely loyal. I was a Deltoid, I would say. My husband at the time worked for Delta 37 years, never called in sick. We really, really, really loved the company and the authority around all that. And so those people, my passengers, it was my mission field. Those people were my people, they were my mission field. And I loved them. I loved the whole idea. I commuted many of the years, and that became a little bit of a struggle towards the end. Commuting.
So you were living in Dallas, Fort Worth, and you commuted to.
I commuted to Atlanta after they closed our base here in Dallas, Fort Worth, and commuted to Atlanta for 3.5 years. Flew international, flew all over the world.
Now you did a self-nurturing thing, and you told me about this the other day on one of our meetings, and you did something special where you would treat yourself to a warm cup of first class coffee or tea or whatever it was. Tell me about those special moments you would sneak away.
For a while, I was a single mom with 3 kids and commuting and working max hours. And I never slept. I mean, there were weekends I'd fly home.
Good thing you weren't a pilot, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Truly. But the one little thing I thought, I'm going to do something that is specifically for me. And I would get on the L1011, we had a middle galley and elevators, and I was usually coordinator. And so I would just get a glass cup from first class and drink my coffee or tea or water out of a glass cup. And it was nurturing for me. It was a very small thing, but I recognized that I needed something.
Well, giving yourself that little mental and emotional mind break of self-nurture, I think as single parents, I think as busy entrepreneurs, sometimes we're starting a company, starting to work from home for the first time. And we like the idea of entrepreneurship because we like the idea of not being in traffic. We like the idea of working for ourselves instead of making somebody else rich, making ourselves rich. But what we realize is we go from 40 or 50 hour a week job to owning our own business and being committed to 80 to 100 hours a week. Now with you, we talked a little bit about this in the transition because you had a retirement package with Delta and all that stuff, but you have people that you coach in your company, in your business. Tell us a little bit about one of your income streams now, because I know you're really passionate about health and wellness. The biggest question I got when I put this out on social media today was, how do you know when to quit your day job? Have you ever had somebody that wants to work with you where maybe you told them, don't quit your day job yet, give it 6 months or a year, or what's your advice?
Definitely don't quit your day job if you're starting a business, because they tend to see that market. I knew people that had worked long after they had doubled their income outside of their job, just because those people are going, what are you doing? How are you doing that? And that brought in.
Well, it's a great way to prospect too, right?
Because that's what I'm talking about. They would go, how on earth did you get that new car?
Yeah. I can remember some of my first class international flights going to visit our team in Pakistan and different things. I met flight attendants that gave me their personal information because they said, let's keep in touch. I love what you're doing. I want to stay in touch. Now, networking and relationship is a big part of what you do, but I want you to tell a little bit about your show and what kind of guests you're looking for on your show, because you've got a lot of irons in the fire, but I see you doing your show and I see the light come on for you. You're really passionate about this. Tell me why you're so excited about your show.
I have a saying, when intriguing opportunities present themselves and you say yes, things show up, right? So
Uh-huh.
things showed up in January. I reconnected with you. I got this show, and all of a sudden, I have my own TV show called The Charla Anderson Show,
Uh-huh.
Collector and Connector of Fascinating People, and Everyone is Fascinating. And that, especially you, is how I added. But so I have a TV show, weekly live TV show on winwinwomen.com, winwinwomen.tv, and soon to be podcast as well. And then, books. I wrote this little book. I self-published it 5 years ago. Michael Beyond Publishing, we're relaunching it, 5th anniversary edition in the
Yes.
next week or month, within the month, I guess. And
Yes.
the other 2 books I have coming up, I expect this year as well.
Split second transformation. That sounds very intriguing. 31 daily practices. Tell me about split second transformation. I love that.
So I have a couple of books that I read almost every single day, just a little chapter like the Proverbs I've done over the years as well. And split second transformation, change your words, change your life, 31 daily practices. So it's a daily little chapter that reminds you that every single word you speak matters. Every word matters. And when you change your language, and you can change your life in a split second. I certainly had that happen to me a few times, and quit, speak what you want, not what you don't want.
Now, in raising your kids and now help raising your granddaughter as well, and kind of being the neighborhood mom with the pool and all the neighbor kids coming over, you've spoken probably millions of words to people, words of encouragement that we probably won't realize the impact you made until we get to heaven. So what would you say to somebody? How can they, and that's really what Candy Bar Hugs is about. It's about you making a difference in somebody's life in the moment. Tell me about why that's so passionate for you.
So Candy Bar Hugs came about. I was watching, it was a big trend for people to buy big bucks for the people behind them in line. And then it got in the news. And I started considering that the person behind the register is probably more needy than somebody buying gourmet coffee. And so Walmart or Kroger or whatever, when I had a checking out, I would ask if they would like a candy bar, what kind of candy bar, buy it for them with a receipt or witness or something. They didn't get in trouble. And then offering a hug. I said, may I give you a hug?
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Those stories came out about that. When one lady said, you have no idea. I just found out my mom is terminal today. And so, it gives me chills to this day when I think about that, because it doesn't take much to make a difference. And a smile, a hug, then we had a couple of years of elbow bumps, and I didn't like that as much, but, and I'm not much of a shopper, so it doesn't happen that often, but it is, it's memorable.
Well, your books have shown up everywhere, and I know the reviews have been incredible. We're so excited to be able to help you relaunch the 5th anniversary edition of all 3 books this year. So you're watching the Live with Michael D, Around the World with Michael D, and the Michael D TV show. Charla Anderson, what's the name of your show, your podcast?
The name of my show is The Charla Anderson Show, Collector and Connector of Fascinating People, and Everyone is Fascinating.
Yes. I want to talk to a little about the income gap. There's a lot of people, you're coming up on a big milestone, a birthday this year. Do you want to tell them what number it is?
The big 70. Oh my goodness. And I'm just getting started. So.
Congratulations. You look fabulous. How do you do that? And I know you're really into health and wellness and health products. So my first company that paid me, not only gave me free products, when I transitioned out of the ministry into business, and I was getting people on stages in network marketing companies, and I was so fascinated with personal development. That's how I launched my publishing company, because I was telling everybody back in 2010, 2011, 2012, get on stage, adopt a nonprofit, and write a book. And so we did really well in the wellness space, and we did really well in the technology space, particularly telecom. But I was so passionate about health and wellness, and the speakers that they would have come. That's when I first heard about Les Brown. That's when I first heard about a lot of the doctors that are in natural health, and just taking control of your health and living longer. People that are living longer. I interviewed an old gentleman the other day, almost 100 years old, and he said, if I known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. So Let's talk about the income gap, because some people retire, they don't have a retirement from Delta, and they're not making enough money to get by. The gas is double, the inflation's killing them, their social security check's not big enough. What would you say to a senior that's looking for a home-based business opportunity? What are some of the things to look for that make for a good company, and what are some of the things that, need to be some red flags?
If you're talking about network marketing, I was in with Mary Kay years and years ago while I was flying. One of the best ones I could think at the time for personal development. And you talk about personal development, I do believe that the network marketing space is the best place to get powerful. I'm a personal development junkie. I mean, I have thousands of dollars and hours of just personal development stuff. So I don't watch television.
Right.
I really gave it up in 7th grade when I got addicted to it in the summer. So I don't do much of that. I do totally love to read and to listen to those that have gone ahead and made a way for us and have. I don't know how I could not be so positive if I was watching the negative news all the time and all that. So if you want to answer the question, if you look for something, I look for integrity in the leadership. That's probably the highest value I can find. Somebody who says what they means what they say, and does what they say, and follows through.
So
and
you've got a track
honesty, and so I love, I haven't been with the company for 15 years, Zervita. I don't know if you can see that, but I love this company, and I love the products because they do make a difference. They give you energy and health and superfood nutrition. I mean, that's just, it's truly a great product and a great company.
Academy
15 years.
The question that we were asking, how do you know which company to choose in direct sales? So I guess it helps that you like the products, right? It helps that they've got good products. So what are some of the products that intrigued you the most and added to your life with them?
So when they started, it was a service company. And when they switched from that, it was like shopping, and I don't even shop. So it was kind of weird, but I followed because of the leadership. And then when they shifted to having a nutritional beverage that is nothing but superfoods, and I witnessed the testimonies firsthand. I've been taking that Zeal Wellness for years now, and makes me healthy and young.
You're getting the nutrition. So we're not getting the nutrition we need in the food we're eating. I mean, when I grew up on the farm where we worked in the garden, mom and dad had a big garden, and Kenny and I, my brother, had to work in that garden before we could go play with our friends in the summertime, or go play baseball, or go swimming. And the same fruits and vegetables we ate as kids, we've got to eat 10 times as many of those fruits and vegetables to get the nutrition, because the soil is depleted. We're putting all kinds of fertilizers, pesticides, and chemicals in our soil to get it to grow faster, because big pharma, right? Big pharma and big food and Monsanto and all those guys are sabotaging our food, and we're not getting the nutrition we need. So.
And I just will add, I have, I'll be 70 in November, and I do not take I have no prescriptions. In fact, my kids one day came in and said, "Mom, do you have any Tylenol? This expired in 2014 or whatever." And I was like, no, I don't know if it's in the cabinet, maybe, but I don't take medicine. I believe, and this is authority, Deuteronomy 7:14 says, "You shall be free of every disease."
Yes.
And it's about believing and that your body has an internal healing. And I do believe it. I've lived it. I don't get sick, and it's not arrogance, it's authority. Jesus said you can do what I did, and even more, John 14:12. And this isn't about religion to me. This is about relationship. This is about the truth of who we are, and every word matters. So when you say who I am, after the words I am is who you are, and you're breathing in the breath of life. And when you say I am sick, then you're claiming it.
Yes.
When you say I am tired, you're claiming it. What if you shifted that one word from tired to refreshed? I'm refreshed. And it literally does something and changes your mindset. And so that's what the Split Second Transformation book is about. Just changing your words and changing your life, and literally
change your words,
claiming what you want, not what you don't want.
well, it's what Jesus already provided. A lot of Christians know that Jesus provided salvation, but they don't all know that Jesus provided healing. He provided healing in the atonement. And I'm reading through my devotional here by my parents' pastor. They gave me the devotional, and it's about Jesus healing them all. And every time you read in the scriptures that somebody like the leper or the blind man asked Jesus, it's recorded so many times in scripture. They said, Jesus, if you're willing. And he always said, I'm willing. Jesus never said the prayer that so many Christians pray, Lord, if it be your will. If
it is his will that you are healthy.
Yes, his word is his will. His will is his word. And claim your salvation for you and your children, and claim your salvation and your healing for you and your family. It's God's will. I'm so glad that my parents put that into me when I was 7 years old. They put those scriptures into me, and I knew that as a kid. In fact, as a 7-year-old kid, I'm going around confessing these scriptures over my body, my life, my health, and I'm seeing the fruit of that, and not getting sick, not getting COVID, and all these things. And some people might say, well, I know somebody that died, or somebody that got the flu, somebody got sick and died. Okay. They didn't know, or they didn't appropriate the blessing that Jesus provided for them, right? So what else do you want to say about that? How has that affected your life, Charla?
Well, it's now been scientifically proven that you can heal just through your mind. And I would never demean or diminish that people getting sick. I don't mean it that way, even a little bit. Yeah. But I believe I was taught to pray incorrectly, so to speak. And so when you pray, Jesus wasn't wimpy. I don't believe he went, please help me heal.
He was moved with compassion.
And he just spoke. He said, thank you. It's all gratitude. Thank you. Get up and walk. Thank you. Eat the fish. He didn't have to beg to have that power. And he said we can do what he did and even more. So I do believe a lot of us have been raised incorrectly in that, or at least not with the bold faith. Who I say I am is bold faith, no fear. Who I am is bold faith, no fear. And when my other book here, Outrageously Courageous, Bold Faith, No Fear, Step Towards the Gun, I stepped towards the gun with the gun right here and said, you need love. And I had no fear. I was shaking. Wow.
What year was this? You got held up at gunpoint. Somebody put a gun in your face to your
2017. Head. Everything has so many things happened in 2017. I wrote I'd just finished the book, but it hadn't been published yet. And
so he was pushing his fear on you. This guy thought he was going to harm you, steal from you.
Two little old ladies walking up a driveway in the middle of 11 o'clock at night after a Zervita convention, in Tennessee. And they thought little old ladies, I'm sure. And I was like, don't mess with Texas. And so it was a moment. That story will be coming out too.
So you didn't fight back with a gun in your purse, which a lot of little old ladies in Texas have guns in their purses. I know my mom does. She's a little old lady in Oklahoma. So I was living from my car for 6 weeks. It was in transition. I was moving and I went to 2 conventions back and forth. So that was it was in my car. It wasn't in my hand, but I had all my stuff from my convention, my cowboy boots, my clothes, my makeup, going up to an Airbnb. Yeah, you figure you're going to be safe. And so this guy's threatening you. And so instead of fear coming out of you, love from Jesus comes to this guy. How did he respond?
Well, they ran. There was 2 guys, and they'd already stolen 2 bags out of my hand, my left hand. But I had my purse on my shoulder, going, "They're like, give me your purse, give me your keys." And I said, "No, y'all need love." And they ran, and I think my friend thought I was going to be a chalk mark because I was stepping towards them. And we lost a lot of stuff, new computer, all kinds of stuff. We lost a lot of stuff, and she lost her car keys, but if they had gotten my phone, my purse, and my car keys, it would have been a whole different ball game. And anyway, the point of the story is when I had no fear, I mean, I'm going to win anyway, right? If he shoots me and I'm dead, I'm with Jesus. And that did cross my mind. But it was
that is powerful. And I know you've told that story a lot. I know you love to speak. You're a Ziglar certified trainer. You've been a fan and an advocate of personal development your entire life. But I think when it comes to personal development, you told me your favorite book is the Bible. How important is the Bible for you on a daily basis?
Well, the word, it's the word. It's the I am. When God, said, tell them my name is I am. And that's why it's so important to, and the breath of life, every single solitary breath, you can center yourself by just taking a breath and just knowing that you're present in that one moment. Every time you take a breath, you can't take one from a second ago or for next second. You can only take one right now.
after you were held up at gunpoint, I would imagine you had a lot of endorphins released. There's a lot of stress. Your adrenals kick in. How did you calm yourself down after that?
Well, my friend who had driven, we'd met and were staying together. We had all night. We were trying to get a hold of AAA to get her car keys, and we just had a lot of work and stressful things to do. But we both are faithful believers and just loving.
Well, fortunately, you had each other and you were together. I mean, obviously, you still had the Lord, known what to do had you been alone. But it just goes to show you that when you truly know the Lord, you have this level of confidence in a situation like that where the odds are against you. We've all seen these videos on the news of old people getting beat up, hurt, or killed and stolen from, that it doesn't go so well. And you were just totally and amazingly calm. And that's what armed you and gave you the authority over the attacker, and you won.
And, so like I said, we were not in Texas, we were in Tennessee, and they did shoot their gun as they were leaving. They drove off and shot it. And the police, I find it a little humorous actually, because the police found the shell, and they said, I said, was it a 9mm? I'm from Texas. So I just find that a little humorous, because I could tell by the gun that, and I'm not avid. I don't carry around. I don't always have it with me, but I do believe in it. We've got a Second Amendment, right? So
you're watching the Michael D Show, Live with Michael D, and we're interviewing best-selling author Charla Anderson. Her book, Candy Bar Hugs, is it's already live, but it's going #1 in June. Tell me about the people you're wanting to interview on your show, Charla.
Thank you. So my show, the Charla Anderson Show on winwinwomen.tv on the Be Empowered channel, is right now I'm talking to overcomers, people that have been dead or almost dead, that are here 6 years later, people with very strong messages of hope and encouragement, because my coaching is courage and authority and peace and prosperity. So it's a CAP program. I'm looking for people that are overcomers, that everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And there are some that are really compelling. I just had my niece on last week that was kidnapped when she was 7. My sister and I re-kidnapped her over 3 years later. She was 12. And it was tough time to not be missing. And she's got an overcoming story. She wrote a book, The Power of Forgiveness, and to be able to forgive and get on and make something of yourself is a huge piece of her world and my world. And
so you actually went undercover, and you and her mom went undercover and re-kidnapped her. Now, how long was she?
Wasn't really undercover. We didn't know what to expect, but we didn't know there was a miracle about all that, because I was reading a little book called The Power of Forgiveness, and by John Bisagno, back this was 1982. And I got a word that we would have her back by her birthday. And I didn't have the courage to speak that. So I said to my sister, I said, I believe we'll hear from her by her birthday.
There you go.
We got a call and knew that she was in England on her birthday. So if I had had the bold faith at that time to speak what I had heard, we'd probably had her back. But we went to England then, and we had 2 cars, and it was kind of a stealthy thing. We finally figured out exactly what town she was in, and we got a Yellow Pages or a phone book, and tore it into thirds, and 3 of us were digging through trying to find where her. We had a phone number, but we didn't have an address. So we got the address. We really kidnapped her.
At the time?
What?
How old was she by then? And how old was she?
She had turned 12, and this was we re-kidnapped her on July 4th, 1982.
That's amazing. How old was she when she was originally kidnapped?
7.
Oh wow! So 5 years.
A little over 3 years. 7. Yeah, no, a little over 3 years. Maybe it was 11. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay. 3 or 4 years. Okay,
3 or 4 years, but it's way too long to not have your child with you, or your niece, or your
mom. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
So people can jump on your calendar, and you're looking for people to interview that have had near-death experiences. That would be one of your ideas, to interview people with near-death experiences.
Well, that may be. Everybody's got stories. I've got tomorrow. My show is at 1:00 live on Wednesdays, Central Time, and Callie Hearn, the wife of the Friday Night Lights coach Nathaniel Hearn. Not the story of it, but the real couple. She's going to be my guest tomorrow. And, she's been the wind beneath his wings. So it not necessarily near death, but just have stories of hope and overcoming. And
now you having a guest on soon that has a connection with Anne Frank. Tell me who that is.
I was in Meet Geese. Was the lady who hid Anne Frank. And I was in her house on my retirement flight in Amsterdam. The real Anne Frank, the lady that hid her. And this is the story of that. They never wanted notoriety for what they did. That's why you don't know her name. She's not public, because she didn't want notoriety for doing the right thing.
She's actually, her and her family actually hid Anne Frank. So the famous Anne Frank that died during the war, during
the Holocaust. Yes. So I met several of those people that were involved in that, and beautiful, beautiful spirited people that just do the right thing because it's the right thing. And that's called integrity.
Hey, Charla, I hope you can stick around for a little while. I want to introduce you to Paulina, filmmaker Paulina Amador. And Paulina, it's great to have you here today. And really, really glad on this Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, you're watching the Michael D Show and Live with Michael D. We go live every week right here. I'm global book publisher in Dallas, Texas. We always interview a couple amazing people, and we just have fun. And we get questions from the audience. And, you had, I don't know if you saw it, Charlotte, but during your conversations, Pat says hi. She was a great time on your show, great time listening into you and saying, hey to you. So Paulina, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Thank you so much. Hello, Michael. Hello, Charla.
Hello. I will be jumping off, but thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us, Charla. Paulina, welcome. And where are you from today? I think you're in the Northwest, right?
I'm in the Northwest. Yes, I'm originally from Mexico, Guadalajara, Mexico, but I have been in this area now for more than 12 years.
Outstanding. Well, our team goes to Guadalajara, Mexico every year for the Guadalajara Book Show, which is the world's second largest book show. And it's right there in Guadalajara. All of Latin America comes. And this year we're going to bring in powerful female immigrants to Guadalajara. I think we talked a little bit about that. All 3 volumes in November. You're also a part of Powerful Female Immigrants Volume 3. 24 women, 24 stories, 24 movements. With all 3 volumes, it's 72 women, 72 stories, 72 movements. And you're a filmmaker, and your main website at wegeniusminds.com. Tell us a little bit about who is Paulina and what have you got going on? And we're definitely going to talk to you about the genius factor. In fact, I've got some questions about that, but tell our audience what makes Paulina tick.
Thank you for such a kind introduction. And yes, very exciting that you are going to be in Guadalajara, Mexico. I have heard about La Fil. I've been there many times, and it's, an amazing location. And yes, many people from around the world go there, and I'll look forward to be there myself. And so, yes, I'm a filmmaker. As far as We Genius Minds is a production company that I founded in 2016. I launched my feature film documentary Evolution, The Genius Equation. I had great people that I interviewed, some of the best futurist scientists and authors, including Michio Kaku, Norman Deutsch, and many others. So you can see it on Amazon and Apple TV. Yes, tell me, what else would you like to know about
I was looking at this, and I one thing I've been saying for years, as even before I got into book publishing, is that every kid is born a genius. And I'm wondering, Paulina, maybe you can tell us from your years of research, most Americans, or most human beings, no matter which country they're from, only use about 5 or 10% of our brain. What happens to us if we're born geniuses? How can we rediscover our inner genius?
See, I think that's a myth based on my research, that we need to be born genius. We need to be born equipped. I mean, Michio Kaku does say every kid is born genius and destroyed by society, but I think the same happens to a lot of us because we have not been educated about how our brain works, what mind is, and how we can actually access different parts of our brain. How can we make new connections in our brain that allow us to have a new experience? And I think that genius always is the next step, the next level. We feel that we're born in a culture, or we're born with certain tools, in a specific educational system, and we feel bound to it. And I think that education is very important, again, to learn at least the basics of, yes, my brain can change. If actually I have a brain, I can equip myself with new tools, new knowledge. And especially there are many disciplines, for example, the ability to focus, to hold a state of mind that actually leads you to open up new experiences and to be able to have a whole new idea that maybe you never thought about. And one of the authors that I interviewed too, his name is David Gelantner, is a very renowned professor at Yale University, wrote a book called The Tides of Mind. He speaks about that. He's like, what happens when we connect one thing with the other that has nothing to do with it? Well, a new idea is born, but at times we don't take the time to actually think about that. And Michio Kaku gave another beautiful example when he said, well, what if you put a physicist and a bank robber to go and make a plan to steal billions of dollars from a bank? And he said to me, the physicist is gonna start to use equations that he's already familiar with, and he's gonna take too long to arrive there, whereas the bank robber is able to improvise because he doesn't know exactly where is he gonna go, but in the moment we are able, and especially when we are pressed by adversity or don't have fully the answers, it opens up this new tool, this new way of being, that you have to improvise. And I think those are really the first steps of getting out of our box, getting out of the status quo, getting out of the known, and start to spark new thoughts and new connections, especially in our brain.
Well, you've discovered some amazing things, and you talk about environment and the role environment and family and geography and all that plays. How did it change for you when you moved to a new location and started networking with different people? Did you quickly gain in your genius quotient, or was it more something you did? Did you take more school hours, or how did you increase your personal genius?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always been very curious about new knowledge and learning new things. I always wanted to know everything, how things work, how nature works. Uh,
Uh-huh.
what is astrophysics? How does it work? How do they photograph a black hole? And what is a black
Yeah.
holes exist, and are they real, or is it only a myth? I give you a more recent example. The movie Interstellar really inspired me because they spoke about that, and there are physics behind the movie. And so I also included some of the physics behind black hole and a wormhole. I interviewed one of the greatest astrophysicists as well, that in fact photographed a black hole. And she said to me, well, first we had to run simulations. We had to learn about the environment around the black hole to actually be able to target if it was real, actually, what we were seeing. So I think to ask questions all the time and not to be afraid that you don't know one topic or the other, and that you don't know something, it's the way forward. And that has been my journey. I wanted to know about real estate. I wanted to know about business. I wanted to know about everything so that I could do what I was inspired to do, so that I could fulfill my dreams. And so I know a little bit about this, as you just heard, about many topics. And then, yes, genius is one of my passions, again, because I learned that, yes, we can be someone new. I think we all feel a little bit stuck to a lot of times with wanting to be a bigger version of ourselves. And so for me, that has been my journey. Yes, obviously, traveling around the world, being in touch with many different cultures around the world too. I've traveled my entire life. That also helped me to open up my mind and to not only feel defined by my culture and feel like that's all I know and that's who I am. No, I am my journey. I am a free being, and I continue to dream big. And that's how I got to bring on board so many amazing, really, truly experts in their field to my documentary, Evolution, the Genius Equation. And then I get to share that. That's my passion, to share what I know. I've been blessed with many mentors from many different backgrounds. From spiritual backgrounds, from business backgrounds. And so that's definitely has impacted me in the way that I am and where I'm moving forward. I'm creating a new documentary now too, and a sequel for my documentary, and obviously being a part of your amazing book series. I look forward.
Very excited about this. I wanted to ask you about this, Paulina. What year did you first immigrate to the U.S.?
Immigrate, when you use the word immigrate, I moved here in 2011, but I have been in the US many times before. And that was another journey. I've had all kinds of visas, all the visas that you can imagine, to actually be able to be a citizen. So that was a journey on itself, and in not giving up.
So starting out education, you were doing college here, I would assume?
Well, I started as a tour with a family visa.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's how you start, actually. Being from Mexico, you start having a family visa, and then you have a student visa, and then I had a working visa, and then I had I think it's an F1, being married to someone that was bringing a business here in America, then having a green card, and then being a citizen. So imagine that journey. I mean,
Yeah, that's an amazing journey. So at what point did you decide that you were a filmmaker? Did you say, look at yourself in the mirror and say, Paulina, you're a filmmaker, just make a film?
Well, I always been in the multimedia film. I started as a graphic designer, then became a photographer, and then fell in love with moving images. I mean, it's the best way to tell a story and to communicate with real stories. That's why I love documentaries. I think it's very important. I think everyone has a story to tell, and not many people have the opportunity to share, how brilliant they are, or how meaningful their journey or their story, life story has been, which is, I think, what you're doing with your books. Now put that in moving images. It takes it to the next level. But the beauty about books too is that you can read an entire story that you couldn't put, in like or that you will have to put in 10 episodes or whatever from a
well, you were nominated. You were nominated to be a part of Powerful Female Immigrants. Many people are nominated. Not everybody's chosen. Remind me, was it Maricela or
Maricela Soberanes?
Yeah, Maricela, who has an amazing story. She was in volume 2, coming here on a bus to Austin, Texas. The sponsors, the people that were supposed to pick her up and host her, were gone. They were missing, and her net worth went from $100 to $50 immediately. She had to get a hotel the first night and didn't know anyone. So I know you have an amazing, incredible story. Do you want to give us just a little sneak peek? I know we're going to interview you on Powerful Female Immigrants podcast and also in the TV studio in Dallas in October. But give us a little sneak peek about some of the challenges you faced coming here and then kind of figuring it all out.
Well, so many challenges. I mean, being from Mexico, I have to say that it's just a challenge in itself. Not speaking the language, having to move to the level where you can actually not just communicate properly, but to actually be able to speak about these concepts that I was saying to you a moment ago. And so that in itself, it was a big challenge for me. And also I always dreamed, well, what if maybe someone could discover me when I was a kid. Maybe someone could discover, how brilliant I am. But I didn't know nothing, as a kid. And so it was very beautiful when I met a beautiful gentleman that actually has been my sponsor for many years. He was born in the family of the King 5 channel, the big Seattle channel. And so we met casually at a spiritual school. And I have to, I'm very grateful to everything he's taught me. He taught me about business. He taught me about believing in my dreams. And I came here with, my savings actually to a spiritual school, wanting to find more meaning about my life, because I was always very curious about that too. Who are we really? Are we more than a body? Are we a soul? Are we a spirit? Like, what is behind this faith?
Will I live forever? Yeah.
Yes, I want to live forever. I love alchemy. And so that's how we casually met. And just in a simple conversation, he was very curious about, how curious I was about learning more about the true nature of who we are. And so he has been, again, as I said, one of my big heroes. And I think that that's also very important, that someone believes in you and takes you forward, because they see in you a talent that you also believe in. And we have not to be afraid that we can actually do it. So for me, it was this big person, but so humble and simple that
Paulina, I want to ask you about your second film in a moment, but first let me say, as we wrap up at the top of the hour here, I want to thank everyone for joining us on the Live with Michael D, the Michael D Show, and the Beyond Publishing podcast, where every week at 10 a.m. Central, we go live and interviewing amazing guests around the world. If you've been writing a book and your friends and family have been telling you, you've got to write a book. Well, I put a book together called Bestseller Status, Becoming a Best-Selling Author in the Digital Age. I'm giving you a free copy right now at bestsellerstatus.com. Go grab it. It'll help you write. In fact, I've got a copy right here. No, that's not it. That's my catalog. But grab a copy. And that's propping my computer up, so let me put it back in there. So grab a copy right now. Start on your book. And if you want a little more hand-holding, if you want a little more personalized help from me, go to credibilitybook.live. These 8 video modules I did on writing your book, writing your best-selling book, who is your avatar, how to write a chapter in 20 minutes, what do you put on the back of the book cover, how do you come up with a title and a subtitle that actually sell. Hey, listen, we've published 759 books. We've ghostwritten over 200 books. We've sold millions of copies, about 80 million books that we've sold in the last 10 years. And so don't take my word for it. Listen to the people that have written their books with our help, with our program. We want to help you do it. And those 8 video modules, I took hundreds of people through the pandemic and gave it to them for free. Many of them published their books and changed the world, changed their life, became coaches, became speakers as a result of their book. So don't delay. Now, Paulina, you're part of Powerful Female Immigrants. You just launched your first movie. You're a filmmaker. The title of the movie is Evolution, the Genius Equation. And at WeGeniusMinds.com, people can check it out and people can learn more. But tell us a little bit about, give us a sneak peek on this second film you're working on.
The second film I'm working on, we just launched our new website, our new social media pages. It's titled Bionic Transcendental Realities. And this beautiful film was born from the story of a friend of mine that lost a leg when she was very young, and she has become an amazing motivational speaker and an amazing mind herself. And so we decided to bring our talents together and help with knowledge, with understanding, with science, with medicine, those in need that have lost a limb, and that the power of healing does exist, and that there is a new world ahead from such an experience. And so she is a big testimonial herself, and obviously bringing my genius expertise. We're gonna advance that topic in this new documentary, and so you can find us at bionicrt.com or bionic.rt on Facebook and Instagram.
Well, congratulations, Paulina, because I think there's a lot of veterans, retired military, that have lost limbs, right, during combat. A lot of the veterans we work with, we publish a lot of military, Gold Star families and veterans and retirees. So congratulations on your first movie and your second movie, and then being a part of Powerful Female Immigrants. Do you want to give us a little peek about what you're going to be sharing, a little takeaway? Have you written your chapter yet? Have you started on it? Or it's not due till August 1st. Some people like to deliver it early. Have you started yet?
I'm contemplating it. I have many stories, and I'm contemplating what's gonna be my number one. So honestly, I have not started writing it. I'm very excited. I am, and I can't wait. Let me say that for sure. But since we launched our new documentary pages yesterday, now my number one next project to focus on is Powerful Female Immigrants and my story.
Well, it's going to be exciting if you know an immigrant, if you know a powerful female immigrant. This is our last volume. We're only doing 3 volumes of this. So we're only including 72 ladies from around the world. And we only have, I think, 3 spots. I need to talk to McGinna and Maricela. We may only have 2 spots right now. So if you're an immigrant or you know an immigrant that fits the description of being a powerful female immigrant, all of the proceeds goes to fund 1040 Impact, our nonprofit that rescues girls from human trafficking, where we clothe, feed, educate, and have rescued 328 girls in Asia, our 4 safe houses, specifically in Pakistan. You're making a difference. And not only that, you're helping amplify voices of women like Paulina that are doing amazing things, changing the world with their story and amplifying and getting their story out. Because Paulina, you'll be in our studio with 72 other women. We're going to have a fun 2-day launch party where we're going to network. We have a monthly Zoom get together, a private Facebook group and WhatsApp group where we support one another. The ladies have been featured on each other's podcasts, each other's stages, helping each other, supporting one another. Paulina, We Genius Minds. I'm on We Genius Minds right now, and give your new website one more time so everybody can catch you there as well.
Yes, new website is bionict.rt.com.
I really like the word bionic, so that in a URL should be epic. Well, it's the top of the hour. It's time for us to wrap up. Paulina, thanks for joining us. Charla Anderson, thanks for being with us and helping us work from home and find more streams of income. And Paulina, we're going to have you back because I want to do a deep dive in how entrepreneurs and authors can leverage their creative side. Maybe they're not a filmmaker like you, but how can they start doing reels to make an impact? So hopefully you're open to share that with us. And thanks for joining us today on Live with Michael D, where we interview amazing authors and amazing speakers around the world that are changing the world one author at a time. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next week at 10 a.m. Central with some amazing guests. Don't miss it.